Native speakers are hard to understand, right? What do you do when you hear them mispronounce their own language? You pat yourself on the back. Learn how to catch 26 mispronunciations and how to train yourself to avoid making them with mnemonic devices and a free PDF download. This episode is all about the English words upon which even native speakers may stumble without even knowing it. Give each word a try, and if you don't get it right on the first time, it's no big deal. 60% of the time, English pronunciation works every time. Today we'll use the International Phonetic Alphabet to help us write down the pronunciation of words. English only has 26 letters, but the IPA has a symbol for every sound the human mouth can make. Check the description box for a link to learn more about IPA. We'll also use mnemonic devices to help us remember stuff. A mnemonic is a silly sentence or a clever trick that helps us to memorize something. For example, the silly sentence, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally," is something that I learned when I was 14. It's the order of operations for math. Look how old I am now, and I still remember it. Why is it important to learn how to pronounce words correctly? Well, if you're going to learn something, you might as well learn to do it the right way. If you learn the incorrect pronunciation from the very start, it takes a long time for you to correct that. The right pronunciation helps you with efficient communication and fluency. You might even teach the native speakers something. Hey, I know that pronunciation can be intimidating, but don't let it stress you. Even I get things wrong sometimes. I've been speaking English for quite a long time. The English alphabet is not very phonetic. It doesn't follow the same rules all the time. We borrow words from other languages, which we call loanwords. And because we do this, we borrow the pronunciation of those words as well. Therefore, it's difficult to follow English pronunciation rules all the time. Okay, so there is an extra challenge at the end of this video. You check the description box for the script of the challenge so that you can try it yourself. Okay, are you ready to go? Let's start. Here's the first word. Some people may say this word incorrectly, but after I teach you this handy mnemonic device, you will sound like a native-born speaker. Are you ready to try it? It's cash, not cachet. It's a secret collection of something. Think of it like the word cash, money, using the following sentence. There's a hidden cache, or a stash of cash, in the forest. Don't say it like sachet, which means to move gracefully. Now that we've said that, let's sashay to the next word. Be careful that you don't use this word as your regular run-of-the-mill vocabulary words. No, its specialness is already built in. How do you say it? Are you ready? Extraordinary. Extraordinary. If something is extraordinary, that means that it's simple and plain. But if it's extraordinary, that's absolutely fantastic. To distinguish between extraordinary and extraordinary, we pronounce the "tror" with a lot of stress. Extraordinary. You try it. Extraordinary. 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 Good job. And the only situation where you would say extraordinary and actually mean extraordinary is exampled by this next clip that we're going to watch.
Not wanting to have an ordinary life. I want to have an extraordinary life.
So in that clip, he said ordinary first, and then he said extraordinary. But he wanted to draw a very distinct line between those two words. So he put a little bit more emphasis on extra and extraordinary. It happens. But don't let it stress you, because you will become an extraordinaire about how to say the next word. You may have heard this one before. It's a French loan word. Take a crack at it and remember to use your best French accent. Are you ready? Faux pas. I know it looks crazy, right? In French, faux means false. And in English, you may hear the collocation faux fur or fake fur. Pas means step. So when you combine those two words, you get faux pas or false step, which means mistake, which is what it is, right? Especially in a social situation. Kathleen made a faux pas when she wore the same dress as Sarah. Try not to make a false step when we get to this next word. French loanwords are common and they look easy to say. In French, it means fireplace. Give it a try. Are you ready? It's foyer, not foyer. 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 This word describes the entryway of a house or a building where people pass through, and sometimes they may meet each other there. It sounds a little like lawyer, so you can use this sentence as a mnemonic. David met his lawyer in the foyer. Try to stay out of trouble with the law so that we can meet the next word. Wearing gems and medals on our body is common, and so is this mispronunciation. What do you think about this word here? Here's a hint. It has 3 syllables, but some people think that's too many. They narrow it down to 2. Are you ready to hear it? It's jewelry. Jewelry. Some people will say jewelry as a colloquial way to say the word. Other people might say jewelry, which is wrong because there is no vowel between the L and the R sound. Let's say it correctly together. Jewelry. Jewelry. It's easy to remember this one because it comes from the word jewel. Jewel, which has 2 syllables. So when you put ry on the end of it, it becomes jewelry. Jewelry. Jewelry is an expensive way to say I love you. This word has a few meanings, but the most popular one is a joke that is attached to an image or a video clip. They are used to imitate real-life situations. They're both funny and enlightening. Go ahead and give this one a try. Are you ready to hear it? It's not mimi, it's meme. Meme. This word follows the vowel consonant E rule, where the E on the end of a word is silent, and it helps the middle vowel to say its name, which is usually a long sound. In this case, the long sound is E, long sounding E. Memes are a popular way to joke around on the internet. It might be an easy way to remember meme by saying me, but that's not how we say it. This next French word sounds like a popular French dish, and it means a narrow group. Are you ready to hear what it sounds like? It's niche. Niche. It sounds like quiche, which is the French dish I was talking about before. Quiche is a dish that has pie crust, cheese, and some vegetables, maybe some meat. Both niche and quiche are French loanwords, so that's why we have to follow the French rules when we pronounce these 2 words. It doesn't sound like the word ditch, which is a long hole on the side of a road, usually. You can use this silly sentence to help you remember. Ditch houses are a niche market. Okay, this next one even I fell for. When I heard the correct pronunciation, I was absolutely shocked. This word means a man-made dock or wharf along the side of a body of water. Are you ready to hear what it sounds like? It's probably not what you think. It's quay. Quay. Once again, you guessed it, this is a French word, so we have to follow their rules. However, don't confuse this word with key, which is a low-lying island, as in the Florida Keys. Quay, a dock or wharf. Key, a low-lying island. Here's a mnemonic for you. You can see the Florida Keys standing on a key. Here we have a 3-for-1 deal, but not really. English has so many words that don't follow consistent pronunciation rules. What do you make of this one? It's a word from Middle English inspired by Old French. Are you ready to hear it? It's homage. 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 In English we say homage, but in French they say hommage. The French pronunciation makes it sound like the English words garage and mirage. While homage means to give something honor, we don't necessarily pay homage to the way that it's pronounced in the French language. To help you remember how to say this, just remember that we don't give honor to the French for this one word, homage. Memorial Day is the day that we give homage to the patriots who came before us. At this point in the video, you might start to realize how many English words are inspired by the French language. And why not? England and France have been neighbors for hundreds of years. You can remember the pronunciation of this word by recalling its purpose. It reserves vast amounts of water for people to use later. Are you ready to hear what it sounds like? It's reservoir, reservoir, reservoir. In the United States, even though there's that second R in the middle, we don't really say it. We just say instead. If you made it through the video this far, you have a vast reservoir of patience, and I appreciate it. Okay, this is a very interesting one. According to Merriam-Webster, this word traces back to an Arabic word, sharba, which means drink. There are Turkish and Persian words that sound and mean something similar, but when the English language adopted this word, many people thought it was too exotic, and so many different spellings and pronunciations resulted. So how do you think it's pronounced? Are you ready to hear it? Sherbet. 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 Many people in English-speaking countries will say sherbet, sherbet, and because it was adopted as a loan word, people are just confused about which one is right. Sherbet is more accurate. You can remember this one because it sounds like sherbet, 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 sherbet. You see? Do you like sherbet? That's a sherbet. Sherbet is a kind of frozen dessert that is made from fruit, kind of like ice cream. The next word is one that sounds, looks like, and even tastes similar to this one. Here's a word that is sometimes confused with sherbet. It comes from 3 different languages: Turkish, French, and Italian. Can you give it a try? Are you ready? It's sorbet, sorbet, sorbet. This one is also a kind of frozen dessert that is made from fruit and syrup. The distinguishing factor between sherbet and sorbet is that sherbet is made with dairy products and sorbet is usually not. The mnemonic for this one is to pretend that your mouth is a bay, which stores things. And then if you eat too much sorbet, your bay will be sore. Sorbet. Here's one that gets on my nerves. Can you pronounce this abbreviation correctly? People say this incorrectly all the time. Are you ready to hear it? It's verses, verses, verses. I think that people get confused just from the abbreviation of VS, so they think verse. But that's weird because we don't actually pronounce abbreviations. A verse is a small section of a poem or a song. Verses means when you combat against someone else or compete against them. Here's the mnemonic. When people hear a mistake, sometimes they will say or think, So imagine all of the uhs you will get when you say verse instead of verse-us. Get it? Speaking of abbreviations, what about this one? How do you say it? Are you ready? It's etc., etc., etc. Some people will just spell it out, like ETC, but other people will shockingly say Etsy.
Daemon, it's like a system service. And so /Etsy on a single machine, like ETC, is where you...
This is a Latin phrase that we borrowed as a loan word, and it means the rest or the remainder. When you're at school, college, or work, don't let these 3 little letters ruin your sophisticated image and make you look like a young and lazy Roman pupil. To remember this one, you can try to say this phrase exactly like this, easy to set. But instead of using an S for set, use a C to help you remember the spelling. So let's check out the remainder of our mispronunciation word list. As an English language enthusiast, the mispronunciation of this word drives me crazy. Are you ready to hear what it sounds like? Supposedly. Supposedly. Some people will say supposably. I don't know why, but that's what they do. Supposably is not even a word. Supposedly, which means in an assumed way or allegedly, is the adverb of suppose. You can remember this one with this silly sentence. Supposedly, he was supposed to call the manager yesterday. Here's a popular one that you might use in a restaurant. It comes from the French word, amazing, isn't it? For vinegar. Are you ready to hear what it is? Vinaigrette. 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 My French is not very good, but the French word for vinegar is vinaigre. Notice that vinaigre has the A and gr sound, but in English, vinegar has n and gr sound. It is not pronounced vinaigrette, vinaigrette. In the English word vinaigrette, there is no vowel or letter between the G and the R, so we won't say go-rette, but we will say gret. The mnemonic for this one is to remember how frustrated you are when you hear the wrong pronunciation. You say grrr, gret. Please pass the vinaigrette. The next two are often confused with each other, which can lead to a lot of head-scratching situations. Take a stab at these two. Are you ready to hear them? Envelope, envelop. Envelope, envelop. Envelope, envelop. Envelop is a verb that means to surround, while envelope is a noun that is a container for letters or documents. They both come from the same language. Can you guess which one? French. The French word for envelope is envelope. Some English native speakers will say the French pronunciation, envelope, envelope, but that's their choice to be wrong, or to be closer to the French. Welcome to the PDF Poem Challenge. This is me reading the poem that is included in the PDF download. Are you ready? Here we go. I take it you already know of touch and bow and cough and dough. Others may stumble, but not you, on hiccup, thorough, laugh, and through. Well done! And now you wish, perhaps, to learn a less familiar traps. Beware of herd, a dreadful word that looks like beard and sounds like bird. And dead, it's said like bed, not bead. And goodness' sake, don't call it deed. Watch out for meat and great and threat. They rhyme with sweet and straight and debt. A moth is not the moth and mother, nor both in bother, broth in brother. And here is not a match for there, nor dear and fear for bear and pear. And then there's dose and rose and lose. Just look them up, and goose and choose, and cork and work and card and ward, and font and front and word and sword, and do and go and thwart and cart. Come, come, I've hardly made a start. A dreadful language, man alive, I'd mastered it when I was 5. How did you do? Keep trying until you get it right. If you need help, send me a comment and I'll reply. You can do it. Hey, keep up the good work. It's important to practice the 4 skills of English learning every day: speaking, reading, writing, and listening. Don't neglect any of the skills because you think you're strong enough in them. You can take a break from practicing English for a few weeks, but anything longer than that and you'll start to lose your skills. If you want someone to talk to, leave a message in the comments below. Maybe we can work something out. The important thing is to have fun and to enjoy the language. So what did we learn today? We learned that even native English speakers can mispronounce words and they don't know that they're doing it. Therefore, if English is not your native language, you needn't worry about making a mispronunciation error. We discovered that learning the correct pronunciation of English words for the first time prevents a lot of extra work in correcting mistakes. Pronouncing English words correctly leads to smooth fluency and effective communication. We also learned that using mnemonic devices can help us to memorize difficult things. Take the time right now to download my free PDF lesson. Inside you will find the pronunciation of all the words plus a few more. And you will find the extra challenge inside. It's a poem using words that are difficult to pronounce. If my video was helpful, then I want to be more helpful. Subscribe to my channel for a free English lesson every week. Thank you for making it all the way through the video. I know that it's a lot of work and I appreciate your effort. I'll see you next time.